Hello everybody, it's Ken Faulkner and we're here to do another knife video, but this one's a little bit different because I'm on the 5 week Faulkner 5 not buying knives thing. So a couple weeks here, we're not going to be talking about new knives that I got in my collection. Could be talking about some old ones, but today we're just going to be talking about knife YouTube. It's just something that I did that video last night, and I wanted to get this one going a little bit earlier because, man, and this is not going to be as long, I hope. I got good response. Everybody likes that Spyderco collection. That's always a popular one, but yeah, I got a little sloppy on that one. I guess tired, feeling better today, but I was not really knowing what I was going to do tonight, and then I watched a knife YouTube video, and started thinking. And I was at work, so I probably shouldn't have been thinking. But I mean, I should have been thinking about work, but not knives. But it's like all day long, every day. Maybe not 24/7, but it's a lot. It's a lot, definitely. Dreams about knives sometimes, not all the time. Lots. So anyway, knife YouTube. I got my case here. This is my case with premium knives. Premium meaning I think we're starting right around 150 on this lower area. We got the bug out here. So these are some higher end knives. And I'm thinking that I wouldn't have these knives, most of these knives, if it weren't for Knife YouTube. I really am thankful to YouTube. Not everything's great about Knife YouTube, but we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it, and I'll try not to go rabbit holing too bad. But yeah, I was watching No Bull reviews, and that's obviously Blade Walker. If you don't know, you should check out the channel because he's really he's got his 1,000 subs. If you haven't heard what's going on, he's got 1,000 subs now, which is really great. But he's going through some tough times, and so this one that he did today was talking, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm going to bring up a list of ideas, so bear with me because I'm trying to keep it on track. So I actually made some notes this time, and my login didn't take. So let me try that again. So anyway, I figured if I'm going to be talking about knives, you guys want to see knives, but I'm not going to really go into detail on the knives. If you have any questions about them, you can always put them in the comments. I get that sometimes. Say, what was that knife? What was that knife? You have to give me some kind of description other than what was that knife. But, most of these have been on my channel at one point or another. Maybe all of them, So when it came to knife YouTube, COVID, I started getting into carrying knives more because earlier in my collecting, it was definitely more of a just collecting knives and having them at home, because a lot of them were like big fixed blades, big old bowies, stuff like that, daggers, a lot of daggers, just kind of like fun to have and look at and think about and all that kind of thing. But then I kind of got to the point where I went to this class. It was about Martial Blade Concepts. If you ever heard of it, that's Michael Janish course. It was just like a one-off type seminar thing, and it wasn't Michael. Unfortunately, that would have been great, but it was somebody who had been through the program, and they talked about, I mentioned before, martial arts was like a big part of my life, and that kind of like I talked about the Renaissance Fair and sword and sorcery, martial arts was also another thing that kind of pushed me towards blades. So I also collected like nunchucks and ninja stuff and all that kind of stuff too. So it's all kind of wrapped in together. But anyway, at the class they were talking about how it's good to have a knife. I think the theory is, you don't want to use a knife. You don't want to get into a knife fight because they talk about what's going to happen. You're probably going to get cut. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I mean that's kind of a real thing, and that's why you should really consider it as something you do not want, and it's like a last resort type thing. So anyway, they were talking about Spyderco's, and I don't think I'd heard of Spyderco before that, which is pretty wild. But it kind of got me going down the idea of carrying a knife. And then there was one that I picked up. I was actually visiting my folks in Florida, and I went to the Ace Hardware store, and they had like a little knife rack. California, you don't really see as much of that stuff, but they had the Ace Hardware store, a knife rack that had a CRKT, and I picked it up. It looked very much like it had good grip. It had like this partially serrated, so it kind of looked kind of tactical, and that kind of started me. But then, I carry that often, but then I started thinking, hey, I want to carry all the time. Everyday carry, right? Everyday carry. So I started looking at smaller knives because I have an office job. And when you don't know what's going to be okay, what's not going to be okay, you just try to be very low key. So I'm getting little small knives and I'm carrying them and stuff like that. So I'm jumping into Amazon and getting Amazon stuff. And that kind of leads me into YouTube. I don't know exactly what the first one. I remember early days of watching like Blade HQ. And then I start seeing all these other knives. I mean, then that's kind of pushing past the boundary of like Amazon and stuff like that. And even if you're looking at Amazon, there's a lot of lower end stuff that isn't really that great, and you don't know what's good and what's not good. Even though there are things like Civivis and Kaisers and good knives there, you just don't know. So in reality, Knife YouTube gave me the opportunity to actually enjoy collecting very much more. Very much more. I mean, YouTube in general is a very useful thing. I mean, I'm the person that cooks in the house, and I'm not a great cook, but I ended up being cooking, so I started looking up how to cook things. I need to change a filter on my car. It's a new car. I haven't really worked on it before. I go to YouTube. It shows me where to go. There's a vacuum cleaner that it's got something stuck in it. Whatever it is, there's something that you need to do, and you don't want to go take it in and pay for it, and you want to do it yourself. Where do you go? Where do you go? In the old days, you just figured it out. Probably broke stuff, lost things. You ended up going to the mechanic later because you messed up what you're trying to fix, that kind of thing. Or you're looking at books. You would go out and buy a book on your car. I used to do that and look through that, but really seeing it done, and a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000,000 words, right? So it makes a big difference. So YouTube's great. So anyway, started getting into knife YouTube, and really it was the companies that were selling them, and that's where I really learned the groundwork, and that's really the best place, I think. It tells you what's the latest thing, so there's Knife Center and a couple of them that have that, and that was great. And then started going into the reviewing stuff, and that's kind of with Blade Walker. He had this goal, and in the video that I watched was him talking about his 1,000 subscriber goal, and I wouldn't even understood what that was before really getting into talking to the reviewers and stuff like that. I mean, the other people that are just selling knives, it's not a big thing, but the ones that are reviewing, that 1,000 sub mark is a big deal. And I can relate even more so because, I mean, I was watching videos and a lot of different people that I enjoyed watching. And I I didn't know what 1,000 sub really meant until I watched for a while, and then you start realizing that's when monetizing happens and all that. And then you also see other people, really big people, with thousands of subscribers, but you don't even know what subscribers are. I mean, when I was first watching, I wasn't commenting, I wasn't liking, I wasn't subscribing. I didn't know anything about that. But, as you get along, you get more familiar. And really, when you start watching it, instead of watching TV, I mean, most times, I'm watching more YouTube, knife YouTube, than I am watching regular TV, to be honest, to be really honest. Um, so you get to that point, and so now understanding that 1,000 sub and what it means, uh, especially after watching Freedom Frog Gear and getting to know him through email. I think I commented on something and somehow we connected up on email. That's how it works. At the point where I finally start commenting. So that's where if you're the kind of guy that's just where I was, where you're just watching and you happen to watch this video. And meanwhile, I should be showing some knives. Sorry, I'm gonna rabbit hole a bit, but I should be showing knives this whole time because I know everybody wants to see knife, not just a knife case. This is one of those Apache, what is it, 4600 or whatever cases. So this one is my premium case. So, this guy is not exactly inexpensive, and I guess a lot of people that wanted this weren't able to get it. I actually got this one, ordered it straight from China from Hermet, and it took a long time to get here. But anyway, I from what I've heard, some people just weren't able to get it when they wanted it. Maybe it's the cost. I mean, some of these things are pretty expensive. This is one of the Jack Wolves, and you're talking about some money. I mean, but you're also talking about premium. And, I had to warm up to the premium, and that's part of the whole journey. So, Freedom Frog Gear, we're talking back and forth. He was a great guy. He's on my list here. What I have is I have a list of shows that channels that I watch. And then there's this group of channels that I used to watch, and they just kind of stopped doing YouTube. And I get that too. Now that I've started doing YouTube myself, I realize that there can be frustration, and there can be a point where you just feel like you're spending too much time putting together videos, and maybe you have things that happen in life. Matter of fact, I was one of the ones on my list, D-Tom, Knives and Gear. I couldn't even remember the name for the longest time. It's been like 3 years since he was on doing knives. And if you guys remember, I just loved his personality. There's a lot of YouTubers that have an amazing personality. And I don't really 100% know exactly what it is that makes me religiously watch certain videos, but that was one of the ones that I was seeking after, not just scrolling through. I was going, hey, I wonder if D-Tom's got a video. Anyway, I went back and I looked at his channel to try to find. I finally remembered, oh, D-Tom, do not tread on me. I put it in the search thing, and he actually had one from 10 months ago instead of 3 years ago, but it wasn't even about knives, so it was kind of funny. And I didn't know that he had done another video, but it's funny that it's people like Kevin from Lefty Easy were commenting on it. Todd Carr, I think, some people that I recognize were all commenting, and I guess they had seen it right away. Maybe they still had the notification on, but anyway, it's funny. So he had that one at 10 months ago. There was the one before that was 3 years ago. So he said that he had a life thing, his daughter, family, important thing like that. And so he kind of got out of the hobby, ended up selling some knives, and it really kind of got out of the hobby, and that happens. Other guys, more recently, Apex Alchemy, Billy and Courtney, man, that was one that I watched religiously. Once I started watching, I started watching them when they had that board that was kind of set up, and then they put the knife out, and they would put it on the screws, and they're moving it back and forth, trying to get it on the screws so it would sit right, stuff like that. Do you remember that? If you ever watched it, earlier days? And I don't know how much they'd done before that, if they'd done something different before that, but that's where I picked up on them. And then they started moving into different things, getting into lives. Billy started getting into making knives, and then all of a sudden, he was kind of done with it. And I actually got to know Billy. I met him at Blade Show. We kind of coordinated on that, and yeah, I was definitely a member at that point. And I went from just subscribing and stuff to and commenting and liking to being a member and wanting to support these people with money, because I figured I'm being entertained. This is my own personal thing. I'm not trying to push this on anybody else, but I figure I'm being entertained. I have YouTube Premium because I can't stand the commercials, so I'm not paying. They're not getting monetized from me from commercials, so I'm putting some money out. I'm saying, hey, I'd pay to go see a movie. I'd watch commercials on commercial TV, and so I don't mind supporting in that way, especially the ones that I like so much that I'm watching like everything they do. So anyway, so I got to know Billy and met them, Billy and Courtney, at Blade Show. I think it's the only one he's been to, because he didn't go last year. I don't know if he's planning on going this year, but he got into making knives, all this stuff. I bought a knife from him to kind of help support buying knife making equipment, stuff like that. But then he started going into podcasting, and I'm not big on. I like them so much, both of them so much, but I'm just not. It's just too much for me to figure out how to do podcasting. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. So anyway, I ended up not following along to the podcast. They're doing things other than knives now, so that's kind of is a little bit of an off-putter to me as well. But let's see, who else do we got? Well, maybe less known. I don't know how big he was. Casey Blade Drip. Do you remember him? I loved his videos. He was great. And then he just kind of stopped. I know his mom passed. And so I don't know. And I wonder about him. How are they doing today? People like Freedom Frog. He kind of stopped doing videos, and he kind of came back. He kept saying he was going to come back, and he back and forth. And I totally get it. But he's the reason why I started doing YouTube and just never looked back. Another one, Thrasher's Garage. Remember Thrasher? Welcome into the garage. Oh gosh, man, I was a big fan, and I loved all those. And then he got into some trouble, right? He got in some trouble with somebody who was, a Karen. I hate to use that term because my sister's name is Karen, and she's not a Karen, air quotes Karen. So anyway, but somebody reported him, and he got in trouble. And he ended up doing another channel called Weekender for a while, and I watched some of that, but it was more camping stuff. And it's okay, I like camping, but I just don't do that much camping, and it's just not really as much my thing as knives are. And he showed some knives, but he just he was just trying to, it was just kind of painful, I think, for him. The way that all went, it was just not cool. And that's the downside of knife YouTube, right? Downside of knife YouTube. But that's one of the things that Blade Walker was talking about, is that you could tell that he wasn't feeling great, and I get it. He apologizes for stuff, and I get that too. That makes sense, because I feel a certain amount of responsibility. But in reality, did I even show this one? I did show that one. I'm repeating myself. He was talking about the fact that, if I don't do a video, then YouTube's algorithm is going to drop me out of people's viewing list, and then I will lose subscribers. And he went through that. He's on and off with health problems. When I first started watching him, he was definitely doing much better. He's out in the backyard. He was a lot more, now he's a little bit more in his room and that kind of thing. And he wasn't on the oxygen, or anything like that at that time. And it's funny because well, not funny really, but when he was before he started a channel, as far as I know, he was commenting on some of my videos, and he was saying, I like to tell you about some of my situation, but I don't want to bring it up or here or something like that. So I already kind of had a clue that there was something going on, and he definitely has a story. And it's like Professional Dad says, I'm not going to tell his story. You can go watch his videos. If you're going to go back in time on his videos, you can see some of the stuff. You have to go back to when it was just Blade Walker. I think it's all just the same channel, but he changed the name at one point to No Bull Reviews. And he explains all that stuff. But, the fact that he felt like he had to perform to a certain level, and he had to, do a certain number of videos just to keep his sub count up, kind of made me feel bad because, that shouldn't be that way. I mean, I don't see it that way. When he would go away for a while and it would stop showing up in my feed, I'd go search his name. I'd go find his stuff, go look under my subscriptions and see what, what's going on and figure out what's going on. That's another one kind of like that is Tony Boom Bots. I've shouted him out before on my channel. Tony Boom Bots, I love his channel, but he's kind of I guess he's older and he really can't just buy knives. I feel I can relate to that as well. It's like right now, I'm not buying knives, so it makes it kind of hard to sometimes do videos. You can come up with this stuff, and people seem to like it. Okay. To do this kind of video where you're talking and showing knives and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, Tony's a great guy. Man, I missed seeing him. He was at Blade Show one year. I saw he put a sticker, or they had like a refrigerator thing, and everybody's putting their stickers on it. I still don't have stickers. I am so lazy. It's horrible. Anyway, I saw his sticker. I go, where is he? Where is he? I wanted to meet him, talk to him. Never saw him that show. I was so sad. Anyway. So he's another one who's kind of hit and miss, and I think his sub count does get affected by that, and then obviously I have to go search his videos instead of them just popping up. Who else do I got on my list here? Those are the ones that I haven't watched, but let me talk about the ones. Okay, so you can let me know if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, and I'm okay with being wrong. This is really it's not really wrong. It's just me and how I see things. But I don't know if other people see Knife YouTube, the same way I do. But I have like a group of channels, and I went through them all. I put them down because I know I'll forget them. Like the other day, I was talking about who I wanted to see at Blade Show, and I totally forgot about Satu Dave. And Satu Dave, I've hung out with him. Is it maybe two different years? Anyway. Cool guy, just so great to hang out with. And definitely, we're talking about meeting up and to go. I don't know if it's been 2 or just the 1 year, but anyway, great to meet up with. I'm so looking forward to that. Professional Dad, his first year going to be there. I'm super excited to meet Chris. So anyway, I forgot his name, so that's why I put down the list. So one of the top ones when I really started getting the reviewers, Bees Blades. And a lot of people know me from Beast Blades. I go into some lives, but I'm not as into live. Now, Blade Walker, that guy, he's in those lives. And I know some people are just like in as many lives as they can possibly be in. Because some people, I see them in the lives like every time I'm in there, I see like the same face, same names. But I am definitely not in as many as so many of these people are. I mean, that's not any plus or minus. I'm not saying anything bad about myself or good about myself or bad about them or good about them. But yeah, some of these people are definitely in the lives a lot more than I am. But Bees Blades, Friday night, for whatever reason, it just works out for me. And I have to be completely honest with you. I'm going to be, personal and honest with you. He's a friend. He is a friend. I mean, it's a long distance friendship. I'm in California. He's in Ohio, but we've met definitely two Blade shows, hung out. He's got me into like parties, after parties and things like that. He's done so much for me. We went out to dinner. We hung out. I mean, and now like actually my girlfriend and Mrs. B's are like best buddies. They communicate a lot more. I'm not super social. If you look up for me on social media, Instagram, every once in a while you see me posting a photo. Facebook, nothing. I go on there and I had another girlfriend before this girlfriend. I went through this divorce. It was horrible. Then I found somebody and it was great, but she was like very much into like Facebook and stuff like that. And she would get mad at me because I wouldn't post stuff. And so she's like, "You're going to post stuff." And I would. And I started getting into that whole likes thing. You know what I mean? And that likes thing is kind of like the sub thing, and the likes and the subs and the comments on Knife YouTube. There's like a dopamine type effect. You get this excitement when you get more, like a certain amount of views, certain amount of likes, all this kind of thing. And I think that's a big part of what makes social media so popular, is that people feel famous. It's like this whole thing. Look at some of these knives. These are so cool. I would not have these if it weren't for Knife YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Bees Blades, I'm in. I don't know if I've missed one since I started watching them. I don't think so. I've maybe only caught part of one, like when I'm out of town or whatever like that. But I think I'm always in there. I can't remember one. If I did miss one, I can't remember it. So anyway, yeah, I like his lives. He's a friend. I mean, when I get a new knife that's really special, I'll be sending a picture to him. I'll text it to him, that kind of thing. He'll come back and he'll like go off about how awesome that is. And it's just, he's that kind of friend, not saying we're best buddies and we're hanging out at, every day or anything like that. But for long distance and YouTube, he is definitely one of my best friends. Truly, honestly, I think he feels, I don't know if he feels the same way, but it doesn't matter to me. I really like him. He's great to me. And yeah, I really enjoy him. Now, the knives that he shows on his channel, aren't as much, I've kind of gotten into a different realm in some, extent. He doesn't show a lot of like ZTs or things like that. So, I still actively every day look and see if he's got a video out. If he does, I'm going to watch the whole thing front to back. I'm going to comment and like. I'm always going to be a member. I'm always going to be, throwing up some super chats and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys know. I don't necessarily do that on other channels. But on some other lives, I might do it once in a while. But yeah, he's just my buddy. I mean, it's just the way it is. Other people like that. Unprofessional Dad is newer to me as far as that's concerned. I just kind of ran into him at some point, and ever since, I mean, it just something clicks. And I don't really know. I couldn't really tell you because there's other people. I got another list of people that I watch sometimes, but for some reason, there's this small group of channels that I will watch on a regular basis. And seek them out and try to watch every single one and comment and all that kind of stuff. So there's Unprofessional Dad. I think he's a great guy. I mean, the more I get to know him, the more I see he's just into the community. He's into doing nice things. He's always very interactive with his with the people who comment. So the people who watch, he's very interactive. He's got his kids. It's I'm a dad. He's a dad. My kids are grown up, but his are young. Anyway, so I'm super excited about meeting him. Behind the Edge, Nick Edwards. Yeah, I mean, I definitely chat back and forth with him. We know about each other's lives to a certain extent, a little bit, long distance, like the same thing. I haven't met him yet. So I don't know. He's not usually able to make it to the shows. I'm going to try to make it out to, like, he went to a Nashville show, and I'm going to try to make it out to one of those sometime, or maybe just go visit him. I mean, I like him a lot, and we just kind of get along really well, I think. talked about Barefoot Bruisers and Satu Dave. Also, Tim's School of Fish. Went out to dinner with Tim and Jacob from Very Good Knife Company last year at Blade Show. Hit it off. I mean, great people. I really like Tim. I like so much about things about him. It's funny that you watch these people on YouTube and you just get to know them, and you kind of almost feel like you know them. And some people you do, because especially when you meet them at a show. And I've mentioned that before, talking about Blade shows and stuff like that. Getting that chance to meet them is like a next level. Or meet anybody like you guys that if you don't have a channel, but you're a regular in the comments or whatever, and you can say, hey, I'm this person, I'm that person. It's great to put a face to the name, Other people, Raybo34, man, I'm just something, about him. He's just a good guy. You could tell he loves his knives. I like his style. Also, I talked about Tony Bootbots. Unfortunately, I don't get to see too many of his videos. He's kind of been off a little bit lately, but he'll be back, and I'll definitely be watching for him. I talked about the list of people that are no longer doing videos, but if they ever came back, I'd jump right in any of those. I mean, they were the ones that I used to watch everyone. So anyway, I was just kind of flicking this one forever. I like this one. It's got a great detent. It is just, it's hard to get to pop out, especially when and then I'm whacking it against other knives. But anyway, it was really hard to get it to pop out when I first got it. I gotta back this up a little bit. I'll show some of my messy table over here, but it's like knife stuff here. I got knives over everywhere. I got a little thing with flashlights and that kind of stuff. So it's still all knife stuff, right? How long ago? 30 minutes. Okay, I gotta kind of wrap this thing up. But anyway, great detent on that. It's just very satisfying. So talk about Blade Walker. He's having trouble, and other people have been like that before on channels, health problems. We had people pass away. There's Jason Brown, hashtag be up. You still see that all over the place. And, once you're part of a community, you're really part of the community. I think Blade Walker's got this feeling like he's going to be kind of left behind. There's no way. If you're watching this, Blade Walker, because I know he watches my stuff because he comments. If you're watching this, you're not going to go away anytime. It doesn't matter how long you're around. I know you're kind of talking about how you're at peace and all that kind of thing, but worrying about, doing enough for the people that watch your stuff and whether or not we're going to remember you when you're gone. We're all going to be gone someday, right? Nobody gets out alive. But anyway, you have those kind of worries. Don't worry about it, because you have made your mark for sure. And people can comment, and I'm sure, and people did comment on that video where he's kind of talking like that. And you could read through the comments, and you could tell that he's a beloved guy, okay? And I know he's his worst critic, and anyway, that kind of set me off. It triggered me. The kids these days call it triggered, right? But that kind of like that talk and how he was worried about YouTube and the algorithm and all that. It shouldn't be a burden. YouTube should be fun. You shouldn't be stressing about it. Trolls are horrible. We shouldn't have to stress any of that stuff. It should all be good. And anyway, kind of got me going. So yeah, I have a big long list of other channels. I don't want to read them all off. There's definitely people I've met, like Scab, Choir Boys. Met him. I was major Ride and Die on his channel. Kind of fell out of it. I think it's because he's more the bigger knives, and I'm kind of into the other knives now. Vufam. Yeah, I love his stuff, but for some reason I'm not drawn to watch everything he does. He does a lot of shorts, and I don't know. If you guys have a channel and you do shorts, you'd probably notice that I don't really watch a lot of shorts or comment on shorts that much. But he's a great guy. Gareth got me into, he sent me a knife. He's getting me involved in stuff, letting me know about the Blade Walker thing and how everybody's pushing for that 1,000 subs, which he's got now, but we want to keep going with that. Um, so there's Lefty, Kevin. He's awesome. See him most shows. He's there selling stuff, and he is so cool. KC from Nice Fast, also same thing. Gotten to meet these people. Big Red. Big Red is like, it just makes you smile when you see him at a show, because he's like, it's a show when you see JB. Zach, I met Zach from Zach Stuff at Blade Show West one year, and he's a great guy. Believe it or not, Ninja I haven't met, but he's a great guy. Uncommon EDC with Jake. Jake I've met at several shows. He's a local guy. We did a knife meetup together. His stuff is a little bit more on the EDC stuff, that on like flashlights and things like that. So it kind of keeps me from really being always on his channel. But I do watch, and all these ones that I'm mentioning right now are the ones that I kind of watch. I always like. Don't always comment, but I always like. Sometimes I'll be just watching stuff. I'll be like cooking. I told you I do the cooking right here. I'll have a video and I'll put on one of the lives and like it and let it run. That kind of thing. Even if I'm not really paying too much attention, even if it's somebody that I don't watch that much, I'll do that just to support people. So, I mean, I do that kind of thing. Who else I got here? Very Good Knife Company. I love Jacob, and got to meet his wife and Tim's wife. We all went out to dinner. Unfortunately, my girlfriend wasn't there that year. Said Stevie. I met him at my first blade show that I went to outside of my area in Utah. Great guy. I happened to have his shirt on at the time. I used to be very big in his channel, kind of falling off a little. Mass Faction, I haven't gotten to meet. I know he's kind of like gone on some of the shows, but always the ones where I'm not there. Grumpy Grud I met last year at Blade Show. Birdshot IV is always at the shows. That's one of the earlier ones that I used to watch. Every single one, I was like very much into it, and it kind of fell to the wayside. And I'll still pop in there every once in a while, but it's just kind of the way it goes for me. So you can let me know if that's not your experience. Maybe it's the same. Maybe you got a different experience. If you want to comment, I've never been like a pushy guy on the likes, comments, any of that kind of stuff. I just let you do what you want to do. I want us all to have fun, but I am going to wrap this up and just say, I appreciate everybody that makes comments. I get a comment, a funny one, and I can't remember the name of the person. I should remember him, but it's something like lazy comment for the algo. You know who you are. If you're watching this, you know who you are. I see that and I smile and I go, that is so cool. Just say hi, whatever. It doesn't matter. I know that that it helps with the algorithm and you're supporting me. Then there's people that are always in there commenting and talking to me about stuff, and I love it. And you're telling me, that your experience is different than mine, and I love that. I want to know. I want to know how everybody experiences YouTube, knife collecting, everything. A lot of them will say, "Oh, that knife is way too expensive. I can never afford that knife." I want to hear that too. I mean, I get it. I know I'm spending tons of money on that. Believe me, I feel it. I feel it because I'm a cheap bastard. So, a lot of these knives are painful for me, and I wouldn't buy it if it wasn't the fact that I'm addicted to knives. And I understand that some people, I'm still paying the bills and all that kind of stuff. And people, keep your priorities straight. I do. That's why I'm doing this 5 weeks before the show where I'm not buying knives. I need to do that so I can not, run up my credit cards to the max when I go to the show and not be able to pay it off, So anyway, that's it, guys. That's where we're going. I love your comments, but if you just watch and you don't comment, you don't even like, I get to see the view count. So I see that you're viewing my channel, even if it's only for a minute. I appreciate everybody, and I just want you to have fun and do what you want to do. I don't want my YouTube in particular, to be a burden to anybody. I want you guys to enjoy my content. I want to do the best job that I can, but I'm going to be who I am, because I want to enjoy it myself. That's number one. to be honest with you. It's more important to me that I enjoy it, because otherwise I'm going to be on that list of people that you used to watch and now is no longer on YouTube. I'm going to keep it fun for me. If it's fun for you, that makes it even better for me. If you comment, if you like, whatever you do, it makes it awesome. So thank you very much, because you're watching this video right now. So you fit into that category, okay? All right, guys, that's it. My voice is going. I'm losing it. I'll come back with another video. Got to try to be creative over the next few weeks. Into the, like Sunday, we'll talk about the next in the Faulkner 5 and that kind of thing. And I'll definitely have a giveaway coming up. I just got to buy a couple more things, and we'll show those. Those are always fun. Get out the box, go through that stuff. And I kind of get to show you stuff and buy stuff when I am not supposed to be buying stuff, but it's for a giveaway. I have to do it. All right, that's it, guys. 40 minutes. Good enough. I will see you on the next one. Bye.